What's going on, everybody? It's Game Unboxing Reviews here, and today I have a new video to talk about, yes, some more news from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game. But the best part is, this is all from gameplay. Now, I can't really show the gameplay, but it will be in the description if you want to watch it, and trust me, you want to watch it. It is amazing. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so I thought I'd start off small first, and basically, Kingpin, as we know, will be in the game, but Beenox have announced that he will play quite a big role in the game, so that's interesting, because yesterday we did get the announcement that there's a mission in the game with Peter meeting up with Harry, and Harry basically expresses his opinion on Kingpin, and says to him that he's involved with so much criminal activity, and Kingpin obviously doesn't like that, so he tries poisoning him, but Peter thankfully saves him. So it seems that Kingpin will be quite a nuisance to Spidey in the game, or maybe an ally. Maybe if you go the Menace route. I mean, the Menace isn't really like Infamous, where it's a karma system. It's more about how the city thinks of you. But it would be interesting to see if you can kind of make allies that are villains in the game. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so Beenox also went on to say that their goal for this game was to improve everything from The Amazing Spider-Man 1. So what they did was they revised the entire look of the city to make it feel more like the real Manhattan. Because they said that in the first game, they used it as more of a hub. They said they didn't really try and make it as detailed or anything, because it was more of a hub to allow the player to explore to get between missions, which is interesting. I don't know why they did that, but oh well. I mean, it was their first try at open world, so yeah, you can't really blame them for that. But anyway, so they've revised the entire look of the city to make it feel more like the real Manhattan. They've done this by changing the city's architecture, the buildings' look, and they've even varied the districts to make it feel less generic. They've also revised the web swinging mechanics as well. So a lot of people complained that, you know, Spidey did his sky swinging like in the old Spider-Man games, and that's completely gone, like we know. And they went on to say that to swing now, you need to connect to buildings using the left and right triggers, which means that you can't just press one button anymore. So instead, you just need to time your swing right and become familiar with the city around you. So for people who didn't like the swinging mechanics in the first game, you don't need to worry, because it looks completely different. And when you see the gameplay, I think you'll be very impressed, because I'm already sold on this game, but I was extremely impressed by what I saw. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about probably my favourite feature in this game so far, and that's the Hero and Menace system. So yesterday we learned that if you're more of a hero in the game, Whitney Chang will come on the news. I think it's the news. It could be like some sort of like in the first game they had a Twitter feed, so maybe it's like that type of thing. But they basically said that Whitney Chang will come on and say how much of a hero you are and how grateful people should be that Spider-Man came and saved them. But if you're more of a menace and you ignore all your responsibility, J. Jonah Jameson will come on and say he'll basically rant about you, because he's trying to show the people of New York that you're a menace and you should be thrown out, basically. So if you take the time to protect the city, you know, so for example, fight crime and save civilians, you'll be known as a hero, which then rewards you with bonus points. So it does reward you for acting more like a hero, which is good because, you know, Spider-Man is a hero. He likes to prove people wrong that he's not a menace. He's there to help. However, that doesn't completely rule out being a menace. If you want to be a menace, you can be a menace. It's not going to stop you. It's just saying that you're rewarded for being more like a hero. So if you let crime get out of control, the people in the city, as we know, will run away screaming because they see you as a menace. Now, here's the cool bit. This will eventually lead to a task force being released into the city armed with a lot of firepower to take Spider-Man out. So I think yesterday they announced drones or something would come after you, so now we know a task force is going to take Spider-Man out. So being a menace is going to be more difficult. You're going to have more of a rough time, but it sounds pretty fun, actually. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to just go the menace route straight away, because it seems really action-packed and will definitely make for a lot of, you know, role-playing scenarios. So Lastly, Beenox said that they aren't trying to punish the player for not participating in any of the open world activities, as they don't want you to get frustrated with the game. So yeah, if you want to be a menace, you can be a menace. If you want to be a hero, you can be a hero. It's all up to you. Okay, so next up I'm going to talk about the Peter Parker elements of the game. So what Beenox are doing this time round is they're using like Peter Parker to move the story forward, because it allows them to get a little more personal into the narrative of the character. So they've been working closely with Marvel to make a story that is meaningful to the character known as Peter Parker, because they want you to feel like you're Spider-Man, you can swing anywhere and you can climb walls and things, but when you're Peter Parker, they want you to feel like a completely different character with completely different goals and things. So yes, you're the same character, just in a different outfit, but it's going to be different gameplay, which is nice because it mixes it up a bit instead of just swinging here and taking out enemies. So yeah, the Peter Parker sections in the game will allow you to investigate and start asking around, which then allows you to meet and talk with A-list characters that aren't accessible as Spider-Man. So you will meet like certain characters in the game as Peter Parker that Spider-Man can't even, meet in the game. So it's kind of like going behind the scenes of the game itself. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. I mean, I don't think they've ever done something like that before, so yeah, playing as Peter Parker sounds pretty cool, and it definitely sounds a lot like a detective, like they're making it sound. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the combat system. So, if you remember in the first game, you kind of just did button mashing to defeat an enemy. I mean, I definitely think the combat system in the first game was brilliant. I absolutely love it, and still love it to this day. But it did feel a bit button mashing, type of gameplay at times. So this time around, Beenox have said that if you keep constantly button mashing, you will most likely fail the fight which you're currently in. So they've introduced some new features, such as perfect hits, dodging, rolling, and much more, which is basically to prevent the player from button mashing to win a fight, because that's what they're trying to avoid. They want you to have fun and strategically plan out how you're going to take these enemies out before just going in, going punch, 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 kick, 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 web, 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 web. They just don't want you to do that. So the player will also be rewarded for pushing the button at the right time. So they've said here, if the player is being attacked by more than one enemy, then they will need to press the dodge button twice to dodge their attacks. So dodging and countering and all this, you're rewarded for that as well. So there's a lot of kind of RPG elements, because you're rewarded and you get a lot of points and you've got perks or suits and things. So there's kind of small little RPG elements to this game, which is quite cool. So you will need to pay attention to when your spider sense tingles. So in the first game, I think the spider sense was only really used where if an enemy spotted you in your stealth or if you were just about to get attacked. But this time round, it will your spider sense flashes red. This means that an enemy is coming up close to attack you, so obviously you got to dodge, you got to counter him or whatever. But when it flashes white, it means that enemies are firing at you from a distance, meaning that you have to get out of the way using dodge roll. So, like I was saying, it's more strategic than the previous game. Enemies will also be armed with baseball bats, guns, tasers, and more. You can now web pull the weapons out of an enemy's hands. However, they may try to get another weapon nearby to attack you with. So, it mixes up the fight a little. Like, you think, I've just took your weapon, you're going down. But this guy might just run away and go get an assault rifle and just shoot you, It mixes up the fight a bit and makes it more interesting. So, another thing they mentioned is that certain web upgrades are required to defeat the brutes in the game. So an example of this is the Seismic Blast, which is basically described as a shotgun blast to the face, only with webs. Now the interesting thing is here, you unlock that by defeating an important villain. Now, if you know Spider-Man, you probably know who has like a type of blast on their hands. I'm pretty sure it's Shocker. They did tease Shocker the other day, and they're not saying who it is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I guess it's safe to say that we unlock some sort of version of Shocker's gauntlets, which is pretty cool. Next up, Beenox announced that yes, stealth gameplay is coming back, but they said that the problem with the first game was you couldn't there wasn't really many ways of taking down an enemy. So what they did was they looked back at Shattered Dimensions. I don't know if you've ever played that, but in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, there is a dimension in the game called Noir Spider-Man, which is based off, you know, the Noir Spider-Man comic books. And basically, Noir Spider-Man could stealth attack enemies behind them, on a wall, on the ceiling, on a beam, on the, you know, there's just so many ways you could stealth attack an enemy to take them down. And they said that's coming back in this game. So you can now, they said you can now stealthily take down an enemy from the ceiling, right behind him, on a nearby wall, and much more, just as long as you are close enough to perform the attack. So that's going back to, like I said, that they're looking back at all the old Spider-Man games and their Spider-Man games as well, and just seeing what they did well, what other companies did well, and what they did wrong, and trying to make the best of all of it, really. Okay, now on to the part which I think you're all waiting for. Yes, they did talk about alternative costumes at GDC, but they didn't really go into detail about much of the costumes. So, okay, so throughout the game, there are multiple hideouts which contain Oscorp tech. Now, once you find the Oscorp tech, you are rewarded with an alternative costume. So there are over 15 costumes in the game, but that's not counting the DLC pack. So some old and familiar suits will be returning, but there will also be some new ones. Each costume comes with its own stats, which means you can upgrade every suit individually. And also, you should probably see it on screen now, and you'll see a brief few seconds of this suit, because they didn't really show gameplay, they just show the suit. And basically, the suit they showed was the Miles Morales, or Miles Morales, or however you pronounce it. Yeah, so that suit is in the game, which is awesome, because that is like that was in my top 5 suits I wanted to see in the game, so that's nice. Also, Thomas Wilson, the co-studio head at Beenox that, you know, said all of this information and was presenting the game at GDC, did mention there is a suit in the game which provides electric resistance. It's useful against enemies that might tase you. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that could be the electro-proof suit. I mean, it might not be, but if you think about it, this game is going to have electro, there's enemies with tasers. It seems like the perfect idea to, you know, perfect time to put an electro-proof suit in the game. Plus, they actually did say on Twitter quite a while back that with Shattered Dimensions, they did want the electro-proof suit to be, you know, electro-proof suit. So, yeah, I think we could see it this time, but that's just what I think. It's not confirmed, but yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there anyway. So last but not least, I have just 3 more things to talk about. So after completion of the first game, you know, you could swing around and you could do all the remaining crimes. But once you finished all those crimes, that was it. All you could do was swing around, try different costumes on, talk to civilians, and replay missions. And that was pretty much it. I mean, you couldn't really do anything else apart from that. So this time round, Beenox have announced that once you beat the game, there is going to be an endless mode, which allows the player to swing around the city, collect all the missing collectibles, or even go fight crime. So in short, unlimited random crimes, which is brilliant, because that's what we all wanted the most, I think. So it's nice to see that they're delivering, and you can't say that Beenox aren't listening to us. You know, we wanted webs that touch the buildings, they're giving us that. We wanted unlimited crimes, they're giving us that. We wanted more costumes. You know, I think they're doing brilliant, and yeah, I'm extremely excited for this game. So the other 2 things was that the footage they showed at GDC graphically, personally to me, I think it was very impressive, and they literally just announced that was the 360 version. Now just imagine what the next gen version will be. So at GDC they showed the 360, but they have yet to show the next gen one, they said, which is pretty cool. And last but not least, they also announced that finally the walkthrough trailer, which will show brand new gameplay, they said it's not the same gameplay they showed at GDC, will be released next week. So they didn't say a day, they just said next week. They officially said this on Facebook, and you should see on screen now what they said. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's really it for now, and hopefully that satisfies you, because that satisfied me. I'm ready now. I mean, that's everything I wanted to know, to be honest. I can't wait to hear more, but I think Beenox has definitely delivered. I mean, they've kept us in the dark for so long, but yeah, I'm extremely excited for the game, and I'm really interested to hear what you all think of it. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more news very soon, and please remember to like, comment and subscribe.